championship game.
Some things are fated. In the end, they work out just the way they were meant to be. Jim Calhoun's Connecticut Huskies. Mike Krzyzewski's Duke Blue Devils. This season was theirs right from the start. And tonight, one will be national champion.
CBS Sports presentation of Prelude to a Championship is sponsored by Honda, a winning lineup of cars, sport utility vehicles, and minivans.
Prelude to a championship. Duke and UConn are set to tip off at 9:18 Eastern Time. The Huskies and the Blue Devils are a combined 70-3 on the season, and each team has it all. Power, speed, depth, excellent coaching. In short, it has all the makings of a classic, and the winner will leave the court tonight with this coveted prize, the NCAA Championship Trophy. I am joined once again by Clark Kellogg and Utah coach Rick Majerus. Let's talk a little bit about the participants in this game. For Duke, the focal point, as he has been for every game this season, is the big man in the middle, Elton Brand.
You know, Greg, you and I on our way over here yesterday, we talked about a song sung by Roberta Flack, Killing You Softly. Well, Elton Brand kills the opponents softly. He combines strength with soft hands and soft touch, along with great agility. I don't know if he can be stopped, but UConn has to try to slow him down. All
right, Coach, as Elton Brand kickstarts the Blue Devils, the Huskies look to Richard Hamilton.
Hamilton has to work very hard to get his own shots, but his teammates have to help him as well by screens. Richard Hamilton must get fast break threes in transition. He must get threes off of in-and-out game. He's got to get his dribble drive, penetration, pull-up middle game, and baseline curls become very important.
All right, if we're looking for matchups in the backcourt, Clark, where do we look?
I think you've got to start with the possibility that you'll see Ricky Moore from UConn on occasion defending William Avery from Duke. These guys were high school teammates on a state championship team in Augusta, Georgia. The first time they go against each other head-to-head in organized play, it should be a dandy of a matchup.
And when we're talking about backcourt guys, there is perhaps no more deadly a three-point shooter in the country than Trajan Langdon.
And better than anyone in the collegiate game, perhaps, he hunts the three. He spots up very well off dribble penetration, but does a great job on the kickouts by Brand in the event that they leave him loose for just a moment. I think, though, Connecticut has to use some presses with discretion and also zone a little bit to change and disrupt Duke's rhythm and govern the tempo of the game.
If there's an X factor tonight, Clark, bench play?
Both teams had tough games on Saturday. Both teams have good depth. The two key guys from each bench, for Duke, it's Corey Maggette, and for UConn, it's Edmund Saunders.
All right, can you tell we're excited? Prelude to a championship will continue here on CBS right after this. Nice place to host a tournament, St. Petersburg, Florida. The skyline here this evening. The weather is magnificent, as it has been all weekend long. And welcome back to Tropicana Field as we count down to Duke and UConn. A short while ago, Bonnie Bernstein caught up with Connecticut coach Jim Calhoun and his floor leader, Khalid El-Amin.
All right, Coach, we always talk about how excited the players are when they come to a tournament, but look at you, 27 years coaching now. This is your first championship game. What's running through your head?
Trying to still find ways to beat Duke. I think everybody's excited and looking forward to the opportunity. And I think Mike's kids probably feel the same way. I know our kids do. And I bet Mike Krzyzewski, even though he's won a couple, he'd probably like to win a third, and I know I'd like to win our first.
Do you get butterflies like the players do?
This is the toughest time, waiting, you know. But I think once they throw the ball up, then you coach like, I can't say like any other game, but the game itself is like any other game.
All right, Nicola, there's been so much talk about defending Elton Brand inside, but you've got quite a task in dealing with William Avery. What's the strategy on him, and do you split duty with Ricky Moore?
I think I do, but at the same time, they have a tough time matching up with us, too. So we're not really focusing much on them. They have a tough time defending us, and we plan to shock the world today.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Khalid El-Amin hoping to shock the world. As for the Blue Devils, Armin Katayan is standing by live with a report. Armin.
Thanks, Greg. You know, one of the things that makes Duke so unique is instead of avoiding the idea of winning a national championship, they've actually embraced it. I got a chance a couple of days ago to spend some time in Durham, and when I was down there, I noticed something that was really interesting in the locker room, taped on each of the lockers of the players. It was a little bracket of this tournament. And what really caught my eye was the headline, not the words Final Four, instead the words Our Tournament. Well, if it's going to be Duke's tournament tonight, they're going to have to overcome the physical pounding they took from Michigan State. To do that, Mike Krzyzewski gave his team the day off yesterday. They didn't practice. In his words, he wanted to restore both their mind and their body. Back to you, Greg.
All right, Armin, thank you. What kind of a game do you look for tonight, Coach?
I believe the faster pace favors Duke.
I don't agree with that at all. I think the only way UConn has a chance to win, full throttle, pedal to the metal for 40 minutes, and I think they can prevail.
All right, gentlemen, as game time approaches, we'll return with more Prelude to a Championship in just a moment.
To a Championship is sponsored by Honda, a winning lineup of cars, sport utility vehicles, and minivans.
They're getting set down on the hardwood floor for the grand finale of what has been a very special march to the championship game. To call the action for us, we turn it over to Jim Nantz and to the man who will be calling his 25th NCAA title game, Billy Packer. Jim, take it away.
Well, the Huskies have arrived. Thank you, Greg. This is a night to celebrate. First off, for your milestone 25th championship game tonight, Billy. Congratulations.
A lot of great years there, Jimmy.
I'm telling you. And you know, in your 25 years, this is a rarity what we have tonight. The game we've been clamoring for all year. The two teams everyone wanted to see in the final. It so seldom works out that way.
It really does, Jim. This is 1993 is the last time we had two #1 seeds go head-to-head. And think about it. Big East ACC, 1982, Georgetown, North Carolina. Will we take another one of those tonight?
Oh, you better believe it. Let's talk about the Duke Blue Devils, the team everybody's talking about here.
Well, you've got to start with Elton Brand on the inside. So many things that you may have to do defensively to stop him. Connecticut's going to try a lot of things, I'm sure. Here we see the aggressive Duke rebounding. They had to do this against Michigan State. Did it take too much out of them? We'll see early in this game. And then the unsung heroes of this tournament. Has been outstanding off the boards, offensively and defensively. And if you're going to start off with Connecticut, you got to think about Rip Hamilton. 24 a game in the NCAA tournament. Kevin Freeman, another one of those unsung guys, can rebound. He can score and he can defend. And when you start talking about defense, you're talking about the best defensive player so far in the NCAA tournament, Ricky Moore. Here he is on Scooney Penn. He has been the real stopper.
What will he do? All right, Billy, what to look for in this game?
Well, what Duke loves to do is penetrate and kick out. Here we'll see Trajan Langdon take it on the inside. And when the defense collapses, Duke knows how to offset, kick out, and hit the three-point shot. Something Connecticut really has to stop, as Michigan State did a good job. Now, here we see it. Trajan Langdon penetrates. Carrawell offsets. There's the kick out. There's the three. That's how Duke gets their runs.
All right, Mike Krzyzewski in his 5th championship game. For Jim Calhoun, his 1st. And now their keys to the game.
Well, I think for us, the offensive key is to get fast break baskets. Now, with that said, we'd like tempo one way. We'd like it to be a downhill game, very simply for us, and an uphill game for Duke, because if we allow them to run, they're obviously the best scoring team in the country, and they're one of the most explosive teams I've seen in college basketball in the last decade.
Adjusting will be one of the keys, not just with Elton, but how are they defending Langdon? You know, are they... what are they doing in their man-to-man? Are they doing their press a little bit differently than instead of just containing? I think we have to get a feel for the game, and adjustments during the game may be the key.
We began with 64. Now there are two teams chasing one dream. The championship is coming up next.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NCAA Basketball Championship game between the Duke University Blue Devils and the University of Connecticut Huskies. Let's meet the starting lineups. At forward for Duke, listed at 6'8", a sophomore from Birmingham, Michigan, number 31, Shane Battier. At forward for Connecticut, listed at 6'7", a junior from Springfield, Massachusetts, number 15, Kevin Freeman. At forward for Duke, listed at 6'6", a junior from St. Louis, wearing number 23, Chris Carrawell. At forward for Connecticut, listed at 6'6", a junior from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, wearing number 32, Richard Hamilton. At center for Duke, listed at 6'8", a sophomore from Peekskill, New York, number 42, Elton Brand. At center for Connecticut, listed at 6'11", a junior from Katy, Texas, number 43, Jake Bosco. guard for Duke, listed at 6'3", a senior from Anchorage, Alaska, wearing number 21, Trajan Landon. At guard for Connecticut, listed at 6'2", a senior from Augusta, Georgia, wearing number 21, Ricky Moore. At guard for Duke, listed at 6'2", a sophomore, also from Augusta, Georgia, wearing number 5, William Avery. And at guard for Connecticut, listed at 5'10", a sophomore from Indianapolis, wearing number 42, Khalid El-Amin. The head coach for Duke is Mike Krzyzewski. And the head coach for Connecticut is Jim Calhoun.
Jim Calhoun was named the Connecticut coach just 1 month after Coach K had taken his first Duke team to a Final Four back in 1986. Billy, the Packer points.
Well, Jim, there's a special feeling in this air tonight. You can think that both of these teams think they're capable of winning the game. So let's take a look at it. Get ready, McGetty. We've had so many freshmen outstanding performances. Arnie Farron back in 44, Purvis Ellison in 86. I have a feeling this guy may be ready to step up tonight. Rip Cords, I'm talking about Rip Hamilton. He has been the scorer of this tournament. Night in, night out, comes up with not only great stats, but big shots. Trajan, and I'm talking about Duke's three-point shooting. They shoot very well, almost 40%, but Connecticut holds people to 28% from three. And Brand X, we're talking about what will Connecticut do with Elton Brand down on the low post. Jake Bosco has had foul problems. That could be of concern for Connecticut.
For two players, an unbelievable road to the championship game. Off the same street, in fact. William Avery, 2 years the junior of Ricky Moore. They were raised on Hazel Street in Augusta, Georgia. Ricky the teacher, William always his pupil. William always wanting to wear Ricky's number. They won a state championship at Westside High School in Augusta back in 1995. Now they play for the national championship on different sides. A tournament that began as the most turbulent and tumultuous first 2 rounds ever has the two teams everyone wanted in the title game, and Duke has it first.
It's Bosco down inside, playing against Brand by himself. Let's see what happens the first time Brand touches it. He's going to play him by himself. Here's the double team.
And El-Amin came over to help out, but was on the line. So they're going to double up now when Brand gets it in the post.
Now, what I think Jim Calhoun is going to do is let him play him face up, then double team from the weak side with forwards, as opposed to using his guards to double down. That means Battier has got to move his feet and get himself open. Connecticut goes with a matchup zone on the out-of-bounds play. 2-3.
Avery with a 3. And the rebound chased down on the quarter by Brand. Avery again. Left open.
What happened there, Jim? Connecticut's in a 2-3 matchup, and they never were able to get adjusted on that long rebound.
Bosco back in and calling for it, and a turnover on the first trip for the Huskies.
Bosco had excellent position at time. Ricky Moore had to be a little bit more patient, and here comes Connecticut. They're not going to change their style. 2-2-1 full court pressure. The problem with this is when Duke beats pressure, they don't mind taking long three-point shots.
Right back to UConn. It was a coin flip yesterday at 1:30. Jeff Hathaway, assistant athletic director at Connecticut, called heads. Since they both were #1 seeds, it was heads, and the Huskies got to be the home team here today. Just the white uniforms.
Duke, straight matchup. Trajan Langdon on El-Amin. El-Amin does have quickness advantage on him, and here is Hamilton.
His first shot is dropped for 2.
Good job by Hamilton moving without the ball, giving Carrawell problems there.
Langdon blocks by Freeman and saved at the last minute. Up off the hands of Ricky Moore. Duke ball. What a block by Freeman.
It was a tremendous job by Freeman, but that's what Duke will do. If you press them, they're not afraid to take long three-point shots. That was a sensational defensive play.
Brand got it on the inbounds pass, could not convert it.
Nice job by Bosco.
Bosco running ahead. El-Amin takes the 3, rattles out. Bosco tips it out to Hamilton. Good save by Big Jake.
Excellent. Two good plays by Voskuhl back-to-back.
Duke has not trailed in this tournament for over 74 minutes, and Hamilton could have given UConn the quick lead.
Here's where you have to pick up very quickly if you're Connecticut, because Duke likes to bring it down and put it up.
Double up on Brand again, surveying now with Voskuhl on his back. Gives it up to Langdon.
Oh, what a beautiful defensive play by Moore to adjust on a pump fake, but he made the foul.
UConn in its first championship game. UCLA with the most titles, but tonight the Blue Devils with a win would tie North Carolina, their neighbor down Tobacco Road, with a third national championship. First two coming back in '91 and '92.
One of the things that Duke is so good at, Jim, is shooting free throws. But against Michigan State, they were 14 for 27. We're looking at a young man right here in his career in the Atlantic Coast Conference is #2 all time, next to the great Charlie Davis from Wake Forest University as the best foul shooter the league has ever had.
Gets them both. He has struggled in this dome when you factor in the 2 games last year in the regional. And with 1 miss so far tonight, he is 7 for 26 inside Tropicana Field. What surprised me talking to him yesterday, this is the only dome he's ever played in his career. And outside, they lose it, and Langdon has the steal.
How about that? Elton Brand plays Elamine one-on-one from the outside.
Avery drives. Freeman with a second block.
Avery loves to take it down inside. It's kind of interesting. You know, you got to figure Ricky Moore was probably taller than Avery when they were sophomores and seniors in high school. Now Avery's got about 2 inches on him.
They bounce it off of the back of Voskuhl. Carrawell with a heads-up play. Battier left open for a 3.
Oh, this young man missed 19 straight threes in 1998. And now he's developed into a pretty strong perimeter shooter.
UConn has his biggest tournament deficit right now. They're down 5. Elamine and Freeman on the line. Back to Duke.
Elamine 0 for 12 in the game against Gonzaga. He can ill afford tonight because they need both of these primary scorers to have big nights against Duke.
Huskies had been down 4 to both Iowa and Gonzaga. They're now down 5 early minutes here in St. Pete.
And Jim, the way this game's being played, it's a game on course to be in the 80s, not in the 60s.
There's the first on Voskuhl. This was the big question. How long would Voskuhl be able to stay on the floor tonight?
Asking a lot, Jim, for Voskuhl to play Brand as a forward. Elton now is developing an ability to play facing the basket as opposed to just with his back to a basket. We can see the strategy by Jim Calhoun. Voskuhl gets one. Bring in Juan early.
Suleiman Juan from Senegal in for UConn. Avery working on Elamine, and he'll go to the line for 2. Duke, the champions of the East. You know, in Mike Krzyzewski's career, when he's been sent to the East Regional, his record 24-0. And storming through the East this time with a 30-point margin of victory, and then the 6-point victory factored in here lowers it to 25.2.
Jim, remember Selection Sunday when everybody was talking about, will Connecticut be moved, or will they put Duke in the South? You know, Mike Krzyzewski wanted Charlotte, and he wanted the Meadowlands, and that's what he got.
Well, they had earned it too during the season.
Absolutely.
You know, meritorious selection for them. And there's the Husky road through the West, which has become the preferred routing, if you will, from the Big East. The last 3 Big East teams to make the Final Four have all come, oddly enough, out of the West Regional. And 6 of their all-time 10 Final Four spots have come from the West for the Big East Conference.
John Thompson used to love to go out there so he could isolate his team. Steps and takes away a 3. Elamine got in some foul trouble, if you remember, against Iowa, a game which he ended up with 21 points, but had to sit a lot of minutes there with foul trouble. There's a turnover.
So a 7-0 run for the Blue Devils, and they can add to it.
Press so far ineffective by Connecticut as far as turning anything over. He's given Duke some open looks.
Traveling on Carrawell. Hamilton's pressure forced it.
Good job there by Carrawell to come to the ball, but not much of a passing lane. Rip Hamilton has got to touch the ball a little bit more, Jim. Remember, he hit that jumper right down on the baseline, and I think on this go-around, Connecticut better let him touch it before somebody else puts one up.
Here's the old matchup, Moore and Avery. Moore gets past him, and he'll take it for two. The senior teaches the sophomore. The teacher over the pupil on that play. Carrawell with a three. Brand tips on the floor. El Amin gets it ahead to Hamilton. What an effort. He'll challenge Langdon. And Ricks turns around and rips the nets for two.
But how about that recovery on the floor? Keeping the ball alive so it wasn't a turnover.
Moore on Langdon. Reach in. Look at Hamilton this time as they double up effectively again.
Moore has to eat his rod after Avery.
It forces the foul against Avery.
Not a good foul by Avery. Moore was down there 1 against 4. Avery should have just tried to contain and not try to steal here. Hamilton has a second steal. There is the great play by El Amin to Hamilton, who pulled up with that little jump shot of his.
UConn just turned it over 4 times, but a little surge now.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Men's National Championship game is sponsored by Genuine Chevrolet, Charles Schwab, Goodyear, Budweiser, and by Enterprise.
Hey, Billy, let's talk about the dome factor when it comes to shooting. And this is to your left tonight, folks, when you watch. We call it the open end. And through the games on Saturday, the 4 teams at that end of the floor, and with that giant screen also somewhat beguiling and confusing because you can see yourself shooting. Well, there's the closed end. At the open end, the teams on Saturday shot 36% from the field. On the right end, or the closed end, 46%. So if you're UConn, like a football team that would like to have the win in the 4th quarter, they're going to be in the second half to the preferred end. Now Ricky Moore steps in.
Second time he's taken it inside. Both times he's delivered. And that was set up on Avery's foul that gave Connecticut possession. So far, the press, although it hasn't turned it over, Maggetti's wide open, hesitated.
And the freshman still, though, knocks it down. Corey Maggetti.
And Brand talked him into the shot. He said, take it, take it.
Hamilton, they don't have to ask him.
Oh, that was a foul.
He follows it up, though, up the glass for 2 more.
And there was Battier fouled on the block out, but nobody blocked out the shooter. How many times do we see that? You cannot elect the shooter has the best look at the rebound. There's Maggetti.
And, oh, I thought it was going to be on Juan, but they called traveling first on the freshman. Albert Mooring in for UConn. Voskuhl will return. Look at some of this contact between the old friends from Hazel Street in Augusta.
I guarantee you that wasn't the first time those two guys collided if they lived on the same street and played basketball on the playground every day.
Well, they first met when Ricky was in the 2nd grade and Avery was in kindergarten.
Connecticut with an opportunity to take the lead. Solid screens and switches. If Connecticut sees that's going to happen, they're going to isolate Moore on a guy like Battier.
Get it back. Moore with a good fake. Take the jump roll. And he's scoring tonight. 6 points for Ricky Moore.
As a freshman and sophomore, before he became the point guard, there goes Maggetti. And a block
by Freeman. That's 3 already.
Jim Moore was considered an outstanding scorer, and that's what we thought he'd be till he assumed this role as a defender and point guard.
Freeman, quick hands.
Boy, Connecticut getting every loose ball on the floor. 3 seconds.
3-second violation. Well, the Huskies have taken the lead, and Duke trails for the first time in 78 minutes in this tournament.
Boy, that is a tremendous play by Freeman. The 3rd big block he's made today. And you'd have to say 2 of the 3 really were baskets that Duke would have had. That block on the wide open shot by Trajan Langdon.
Chris Burgess, the sophomore from Irvine, California, in.
Duke's getting what they want when they beat that press. Look at Maggetti go.
So quick, and it falls. For a moment, it looked like it might spin out.
Well, Jim, as I said, is Maggetti ready? I think the answer is yes.
Got Moore feeling it tonight. Not this time. Tipped out. Hamilton again. Loose ball to the Huskies. Moore, 3-pointer. He's got the feeling, folks, in the championship game. That's 9 for Ricky Moore.
Not what Duke expected at all. And that gives them their third scorer out there with El-Amin, and Hamilton really puts pressure on the defense.
And a turnover. Near the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we select a genuine Chevrolet Most Valuable Player from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed over $7 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. El-Amin returns.
You know, Jim, I'm going all the way back to Ricky Moore's freshman year. Remember the Big East championship win over Georgetown?
Yeah,
he had 14 in that game. He was sensational offensively.
And he had a stretch late in that game where he had 10 straight points for the Huskies. And that night he shut down Allen Iverson, only 4 of 15 from the field.
Allen Iverson said he's the only man in college basketball quick enough to guard me. That's saying something.
Look at El-Amin dish to Saunders.
Mike Krzyzewski now up off that bench trying to work these officials a little bit. Feeling that he had the charge. Game being called kind of loose inside.
It's the first run anyone's put on Duke in the tournament. 15-4 run, and Trajan Langdon
over Mooring. Got to get up in his face and made him put it on the floor. Connecticut not to be denied.
And a charge on Rip Hamilton.
And who's on the bottom of the pile?
Who else?
Son Battier, the all-time leader at Duke University. There he is waiting on it.
Elton Brand comes in. Battier, after that brilliant play, will get a rest.
And both coaches liberally going to the bench. I don't really see any signs, though, of weary legs from either one of these teams coming off of Saturday's game.
Rashmel Jones is in, 3-year co-captain for the Huskies, number 3, and Hamilton gets a breather. UConn can match him with depth.
Oh, without question.
Carrawell, good move. And Duke's back ahead. Lead pass to Jones.
Another charge.
Nope. Against Duke. On Langdon.
Trajan was waiting for him. Well, if Duke thought somebody was going to slow this game down because they worried about their explosiveness, I think that was a charge, not a block. But it's called the other way. Trajan Langdon waiting right there for him. But Jones, who also is a guy that can explode offensively, although he has not played this year like he has in the past, had 11 points against St. John's in the Big East tournament.
He was a scorer his sophomore year, Rashmel Jones. In fact, he was the top scorer for the Huskies until very late in that year when a freshman, Richard Hamilton, ended up overtaking him for the team title.
He still averaged 13 a game that particular year and started 31 games. So we're talking about a guy deep on the bench right now that was a very important player for Connecticut.
We got a lane violation. He'll get one more try.
Shot looked good. I haven't seen any players playing with anything other than what looks like confidence, Jim. You see the shots going up, nobody pulling the string.
Well, can't get the second one to go.
Elton Brand up with the 2 strong hands. Hands are so big and powerful.
And he'll reset it.
Now, what's interesting right there, I don't think Juan and Saunders knew which one was supposed to take Brand. They were both on him.
Timeout on the floor. Ricky Moore with 9. The game's tied. Jim Nance and Billy Packer. We talked about Ricky Moore and what he can do defensively. And it's not necessarily his defense tonight that's getting all the attention. Look at some of the moves here by the man who Jim Calhoun said can change a game without even taking a shot. But he's taken shots. He's knocked down 4 out of 5 at this point.
And Jim, he's the guy that stopped Arthur Lee, 4 for 13. Mateen Cleaves, 2 for 15. There's Avery hitting one of his patented threes. And Scooty Penn, 3 for 13. But his old high school teammate lit it up there.
Yeah, and Avery has 7 points of his own. 9 for Moore, 7 for Avery, and Brand with a steal.
Not a good pass. Telegraphed by El-Amin.
Avery gets a break.
Well, Augusta, Georgia, Jim, is putting on a masterful show. I'll steal one of yours for you.
Go. You can have it. I love it. Saunders comes in.
Brand again with those powerful hands. They better not try to He
Look at
gets
this.
it
He lost
stolen.
control at once.
Oh!
With a little hook.
You don't see that often without a foul. Great play by Juan. You know, he came up short on a couple of good shots the other day. On Saturday, just didn't get him to fall. Seemed disgusted, but that's an important ball. And there's Elton Brand.
He's going to be whistled for that one.
Yep, he threw an elbow. Well, we talked about Brand X, and when you strip a guy that's got the largest hands in college basketball, you've done something. And here's one who had a couple of excellent post-up moves on Saturday, just couldn't get the ball to fall. Nice job here.
Well, Saunders reached in to strip it. The two backups, Juan and Saunders, make the big play, and Brandon whistled for the foul at the other end.
That was a foolish foul by Elton Brand, too. He's just trying to get some retaliation and get some respect down in low, but it was such an obvious elbow.
We're almost halfway through the first 20, and Brand has only attempted one shot and missed it.
Solid screen on Avery. Second time Elamine and Brand have been matched up.
Elamine backs up to take it over him.
How about that? The little guy's out guarding defensively on the switch. There you have Avery getting the rebound. Elamine's, there's the double team coming.
Brand wanted it back. And now Saunders, they'll call it instead on Juan. There's a clean block by Saunders.
But, you know, Jim, that's a foul and a defensive play that Jim Calhoun can afford. Bosco's not involved with it.
Tomorrow on CBS, the long-awaited premiere of The Late Late Show with Craig Kilburn, an hour of comedy, celebrities, and his famous 5 questions. Catch the premiere, Craig Kilburn's new talk show tomorrow after David Letterman right here on CBS.
Young man right here got the Naismith Award for the National Player of the Year. He's the ACC Player of the Year, MVP of the ACC tournament. Just about every honor you can imagine. Was selected as the Outstanding U.S. Male Athlete of the Year by USA Basketball. He's covered it all.
Battier and Bosco come back in. Gets 1 of 2. Brand became just the 3rd sophomore in the last 30 years to be named Player of the Year by the Sporting News. Bill Walton and Michael Jordan were the other 2 sophomores.
Here's that switch again. That leaves Elton Brand on Elamine. We'd like to take him one-on-one.
Elamine at last. Didn't expect to see too much of that matchup tonight, did we?
And what Elamine is recognizing now, he needs to get just enough space to get the jumper off as opposed to penetrating on Brand, where he works to Brand's advantage the closer he gets to the basket.
Were the first points for Khalid after missing his first 3 attempts. Let's see what Bosco does. He's got 1 foul to this point. Brand has to go back out with it. And a reach in on Khalid Elamine.
Second foul on Elamine. This is a very important situation now. He's got to be careful defensively. As I said, got in foul trouble against Iowa. And boy, is Connecticut doubling down from both sides now. They come from the forwards to give Brand all the trouble inside. And notice that the guards are staying out with their men so they can't kick out for the jump shots by Duke. Good strategy.
Yeah, and Albert Mooring will come in. He has been trying to recover from a knee sprain. Got a harness on it right now, but he is the best shooter and has given them at times this year big games off the bench offensively.
There's a screen down inside.
There's that double up. Brand back. Battier follows it up. And look, it's UConn underneath with Mooring.
Now, Elton Brand's going to start to get a little nervous here, and the fact that a great block.
Hamilton has it swatted away. A flying Carrawell.
Jim, what Elton Brand has got to do now is to be very patient because the double team is coming immediately upon the catch. They're not waiting for him. That's kind of like Freeman's block on Trajan Langdon. Leggetti now on Moore.
Hamilton with 6 points. Give him 8.
Hamilton too tall. Shot right over the top of Avery.
I said at the top, everyone's talking about Duke. Billy, we've heard it all week, like this was some kind of Duke Invitational. People underplaying. UConn as Bosco stuffs them. and the Huskies are looking to regain the lead. To the middle, Freeman in the lane. It puts it up. UConn back ahead.
Taking it right to Duke. So far, you get the feeling Connecticut is more confident that they can handle Duke than Duke is of Connecticut. I think back to Madison Square Garden when I think of these two teams. Duke had to go to overtime to beat St. John's. Connecticut in the Garden, the Big East tournament, blew St. John's out of there.
Brand on the offensive glass for the putback. His first field goal. It took him 12.5 minutes. Ricky Moore quickly fades away, and Ricky Moore continues to sizzle.
And shakes his head like they're not going to stop me tonight.
And you look into his eyes, and you believe him.
Well, when you know what he's going to give you in the defensive end, and then he comes through like this in the offensive end. Well, Getty wants to penetrate on every move, doesn't he?
Look at that move to quickly square up in midair.
I think he's going to have to be the guy for Duke to offset some of this play by Ricky Moore offensively. Osco ought to find himself somebody a guard. Good
look at Moore go to the hole.
Lost the handle.
Oh, this is incredible. More and more. It's looking like UConn can stay with the Blue Devils till the very end.
Sensational play on his part. Look at Bosco pushing down inside on Elton Brand. Here comes the trap.
Here's McGetty, Billy. Blocked. Up ahead, Hamilton. And look at the pickoff by
Avery's open for the three. Trajan waited too long.
Got stuck underneath, drove too far. Another man left early for UConn. Bannier's foul may have prevented an easy two.
Trajan Langdon did not make a good decision at all there. He had William Avery on the wing. Here's Ricky Moore going down inside. Lost the handle and still made it.
UConn leads by 2. Elton Brand, the player of the year. 3 points, 5 rebounds thus far.
Jim, well-conceived defensive plan by Connecticut. What they're doing as the ball is passed, they're double teaming. They don't wait until he gets the ball and then come. They're coming on the pass. Brand has got to understand as soon as he touches the ball, he's going to have to throw the ball opposite from where it came because that's where the defense is coming from.
Field goal percentages and the Huskies at that open end we talked about. Just undaunted, 61% to this point.
Jim, when you're locking in as a player, you don't even see what's behind the basket. I know the stats may go against me on what I just said, but a great shooter sees his target on the rim or inside that hoop.
But Billy, you have, and we have seen, and many times with Final Four, great shooters get confounded by playing in domes.
Oh, I don't agree. There are great shooting parks, just like great hitters parks in baseball. Overplaying by Carrawell. Freeman recognized it, goes right on by.
Freeman, and it's going the other way. For a complete wrap-up of the men's basketball championship, in-depth stats, recaps and more, go to cbs.sportsline.com or on America Online, enter keyword CBS Sportsline.
Jim, one of the things you have to do as a coach is scout officials during a game. We have one official here who is not going to call the charge. So therefore, you shouldn't go ahead and try to draw those charges inside. He's just not going to call it.
Brand off the good feed from Avery.
Nice job by Avery in the air making that decision.
Got the 6th tie of the game. 5 lead changes so far. Duke led at one time by 7. UConn's largest lead 4.
Hamilton on a nice flare.
Outside 3, too strong. All Duke in the area, and they out-battled themselves for it.
Well, now look at that. Duke players arguing back and forth. Not a good sign for Duke. Little frustration there. McGetty and Langdon didn't talk. Knocked the ball out of bounds in what should have been an easy rebound for them. You really see some frustration in the eyes of the team that Jim was supposed to be coronated here, as opposed to winning this tournament.
How many times this week were you asked your opinion about how could anyone play with Duke? And as though this was a foregone conclusion that the Blue Devils would win the championship.
I agree, Jimmy. You've got to win this as a one-and-done deal. Connecticut was #1 in the nation more weeks than was Duke. So it's not like this team has to make any excuses why they're here.
Mooring puts it up with the left hand.
And Connecticut is getting very good distribution with their scoring. McGetty dangerous here. Hamilton not strong enough to guard him.
Carrawell slices to the hole. And Juan got a piece of the hand. Well, we lost 2 Big Ten teams here in the semifinals on Saturday. UConn's first visit to the championship game, mentioned for Coach K, it's his 5th final in the 90s, with wins over Kansas and, of course, the win over the Fab Five of Michigan, defeated in the 90s in championship games by UNLV and Arkansas.
Jim, just think about it. 1964, Connecticut had a chance to go to the Final Four. Team in their way, Duke University. 1990, remember that?
It was Jim Calhoun's first NCAA team.
That's right. Christian Laettner knocked them out of it. 1991, although it wasn't the regional final, Duke again stopped Connecticut's march towards the Final Four. So they've been in their way on 3 important occasions.
We have another tie.
And now the ball in the hands of the man has been the man in this first half, Ricky Moore. Nice backdoor cut.
Jones. Get it back.
A lot of experience out there in rush by Jones. Hamilton looking for a solid screen up top.
Freeman's out there to set it. Switch off Maggette. Trying to recover, but Hamilton's free. Somehow it spins out.
And Jones there to get the rebound.
Hamilton will drive right back. Fade away. Oh, 2 of them look like they would fall.
They are not calling the charge. Players need to recognize that, as do coaches.
And a charge.
There you go. Just as I say it, they finally call one.
Timmy Higgins calls that one.
Here you see the reverse dribble. Now, a player on defense has got to have both feet planted before contact is made, or it's a foul on the defense. You take a look at that one.
Four minutes to go in a thrilling first half.
Hey, Jim Calhoun getting these seniors, Jones and Moore, playing solid basketball.
Right there, Rushmell Jones, as you call it.
They've been there before, played in a hard-nosed Big East, and Jones looks like he belongs out here. It's not a sub just trying to steal some minutes.
Maggette thought he could take Freeman. Freeman was right there, though. Fade away up high, and Ricky Moore chases it down. They had 2 men on Brand again.
And sandwich Brand in there. Ricky just too quick for him.
But it was Ricky Moore on Saturday who led the Huskies in rebounding against Ohio State with 8. They say you can see it in the eyes. That's what Coach K was talking about. Juan didn't agree with that, but he'll agree with the score. Nolan, star of LA Doctors, a show normally on Monday nights, but not on championship night. He's a basketball fan and graduate of the University of Pennsylvania. Talk about stars in the crowd here tonight. Here's
Jim, there are 2 legends right there, General Schwarzkopf and, of course, the great John Wooden, the Wizard.
Hey, look who's in front of him.
How about this guy? You talk about stopping some people. There's a fastball. The Rocket's here.
Got the Rocket, the Wizard, and the General. Could have some good defensive strategy coming from the stands, I would think, tonight.
Well, what I like about this game, that both teams said, hey, this is the way we like to play. Try to stop us.
Look at the move that Hamilton makes on Battier, and again unable to finish it. He's had 3 close-in shots that have been off the rim.
Duke's got something going here, but they don't get their patented 3 off on the semi-break.
Nate James almost lost it.
Again, they're not able to get the ball to Brand where he can score without the double team coming from the weak side.
7 on the shot clock, out to Carrawell. Battier knows the timing here. Launches Ricky Moore underneath and taken away by Jones. Looks like James might have it for Duke.
Time after time, Connecticut has stripped the ball out of Duke's hands. The ultimate one, obviously, when Brand lost it.
Tough pass. Gave it away. Carrawell driving.
Spins out. I thought Jones had the foul to stop him.
And a turnover at the other end.
Ricky Moore, very tired, Jim. He couldn't get back down court.
Coming up, Pennzoil at the half. Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg, and Coach Rick Majerus with complete First half analysis all coming up on Pennzoil at the half. El Amin has been out with those 2 fouls quite a bit here in that first half.
Exactly. They would have wanted to substitute. There is the play.
Oh, another missed layup.
Duke just can't get it to fall inside.
First parallel, that time Battier.
That was a good job by Brand recognizing the double team. Ricky Moore is really tired. He's put on quite a show here in this first half. Hamilton would like a screen.
Drives in, floats, and it falls for 2 more.
You see, they're not calling that charge at all. Battier down there to draw the charge, but the refs are not calling it. Boy, Hamilton has the great little floating pull-up shots. You see it right here again.
Yep.
They're see Battier waiting on him. They're just not calling that play, so you've got to scout the refs.
Should that one have been called?
No, I think that what you had there is a case where Hamilton has the right to come down. But if referees are consistent, you've got to make that judgment as a player.
Langdon bangs it home, a second 3 on the night.
Trajan, much like Wally Serbiak, likes that play without the dribble. Stares you down and then puts it up.
Push off on Trajan at the other end. It'll be a 1-and-1. For in-depth tournament stats, go to cbs.sportsline.com. And here's a stat for you. Field goal percentage. This is the Duke team that field goal percentage defense is having its best season since 1960, holding opponents at a 38% average.
And Jim, something had to give here because Connecticut does a great job on 3-point defense, holding teams to 28%. And you've got Duke, a team that shoots almost 40% from 3. Mike Krzyzewski wanting to get Maggette back into the ball game. Now he changes his mind.
It'll be 1-and-1 for Ricky Moore.
Ricky Moore at the line.
I'm surprised he didn't do that with James in the ball game. They've got an opportunity to get maybe 2 possessions here to end the half.
Freeman, though, comes into the lane to strip it away. Freeman does a lot of things for you quietly. Moore bounces in, lost control of it, had to throw it up with the left hand.
And what Duke is not doing is pushing the ball down the floor, kicking out and hitting the 3. That is one of their best offensive weapons, and Connecticut is cutting that off tonight. Look at how far they're pushing Elton Brand out.
Bosco able to play this first half with 1 foul. Final 25 seconds, though. Langdon, and 1.
A 3 and a 1, right? Or did he get a 2? Was his foot on the line?
It's given it a 3. We're calling it a 3.
And what Trajan Langdon did there, that just took nerves of steel because he's being guarded by a great defender. He looks him down, as I said, much as we saw Wally Serbiak do in the great performances that he's had in this tournament. Trajan has the foot inside the line and then back of the line. Good call. He gets an opportunity to go to the foul line as well.
Second on Moore, and his fatigue here really showing with the missed 1-and-1, a turnover earlier, and the foul on that play.
You know what took a lot out of him, Jim? Chasing down Carrawell along with Jones, and he would just wore out.
Maggette back. And Duke leads by 3. Jim Calhoun, he will tell you this is his 28th Final Four. Just so happens the first 27 he didn't come with his guys.
Well, how about it? They went more than any other team in the NCAA. Went 20 years in the NCAA tournaments without ever getting to a Final Four. Now that falls on Brigham Young with 18 and Missouri with 17.
The first time Jim Calhoun took UConn to the tournament was 1990, and they were just seconds away from, in that first trip into the tournament under Calhoun, they were going to go to the Final Four. Just 2.6 seconds to defend against Duke. This
Watch
is the
that man right there.
Back to Leitner. And Duke ends the dream, and Mike Krzyzewski's team would go on playing the championship game against UNLV.
And remember, of course, Scotty Burrell, the pass to George, and there is Christian Leitner right there hiding inside.
You love to see the alumni that come back for a night like this. The likes of Grant Hill, Mark Allery, here also, on and on and on. The G-man, Jaminski. Capel. Final 8 seconds now. A 3 to tie at the half. They'll go inside for the 2. Freeman hit from behind. Ball on the floor. And a whistle on Duke with 1.7 seconds to go.
That looks like it's going to put Hamilton on the line. And Jim, when you talk about Christian Laettner, I think other than Kareem Jabbar, Lou Alcindor at the time, who I think had the greatest collegiate career of any player. He was 3 times most outstanding player of this tournament, 3 national championships. I think Christian Laettner had the second best collegiate career of any player in college history.
He was amazing. And he's checking it out here at last call. And Jones will come in. El Amin, they don't want any silly third foul on El Amin, so he's out. And there's Hill, Grant Hill.
Not a bad player himself at Duke University. Who will ever forget that play he made against Kansas?
91 final.
Absolutely.
Hamilton at the line. A 1-and-1. One more.
Big foul. 1.7 seconds, Jim, left there.
We saw that clip of the 90 regional final, and people kept waiting. The visits to the Final 8 3 times falling before making it this year. Hamilton, not the second time. They keep rolling off the rim for him, and that'll bring us to the half.
Well, Connecticut's behind, but they are 9-0 with their trail at halftime.
Isn't that amazing?
Duke, a terrific comeback to take the lead again.
9-0 when trailing at the half. Their biggest deficit on the season, 5 points. This time it's only 2. Jim Calhoun, again, it's been somewhat of a marathon for some Husky fans to make it here to the Final Four, now to the championship, and he's running marathons, completing both New York and Boston marathons. Let's go over to Armin Katayan. Armin?
Thanks, Jim. I'm standing with Quinn Snyder, standing in for a slightly suspicious Mike Krzyzewski. Quinn, your reaction to the first half, they gave you everything you wanted, then some, and what has to happen in the second?
Well, we're not defending. They're doing a great job of pushing it up and getting us back on the heels, and we're not there. They're going by us. They're driving us. We're not taking charges. Trajan was really big for us, you know, with his shots, and we haven't solved the double team yet. They're doubling down on Elton, and that's giving us some trouble too. But the main thing is we're not guarding.
All right, thanks a lot, Quinn. Jim?
All right, Armin. Duke has won 32 straight games, but needing one more for the championship. That's the end of the first half. Duke 39, Connecticut 37, and CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA basketball championship continues after this message. The Blue Devils lead by 2 at halftime, and we'll return to St. Petersburg after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA basketball championship. Duke, Ricky Moore with 13 tops for the Huskies.
Pepsi One presents the Virtual Playbook.
Jim, great adjustments that we're going to see here by Connecticut. When they see the overplays by Duke, they've been going back to court, backdoor beautifully. Here we see Ricky Moore take advantage of the overplay. Good passing lane. He cuts backdoor, pass right on the mark. And then Moore does an incredible job beating Battier, one of the best defensive players in the country. Comes across, loses the handle, and still puts it in for 2 of his 13 points in the half. Let's take a look at the points. Get ready, Maggette. He really has been. 6 points, 3 for 7. We're going to see more of him in the second half. Rip courts. What more could you ask of Hamilton? 11 points, 5 for 13. He's doing everything you could expect. 3-point shooting from Duke, 5 for 10, but I don't think that they've gotten off enough threes. They're there. Brand X, 5 points. Jake Voskuhl, only 1 foul. I'd have to say the key to the first half, a great job by Connecticut in their deployment defensively. Here's Voskuhl doing exactly what he has to do. Move Brand off the positions that he likes to be in the low post, and then double anytime that ball is on the way in.
First possession, second half, belongs to UConn. Again, 9-0 when trailing at the half this year. Down 2 as they begin the second stanza. And El Amin played less than 10 minutes in that first half. Moore saves it to Voskuhl. You feel like El Amin could break out in this half, and he hits the opening jumper to tie it at 39.
That's the second time he's recognized that Brand gets on him and instead of trying to take it to Brand, he pulls away, gets space, and puts up his jumper.
Didn't play much in that first half because of 2 fouls. Second one came with 9 minutes to go in the half, and then he sat. Here's Langdon, and Langdon is warming up.
The extra pass by Duke University set that up. That's what they've got to do. Get open from the outside by passing quickly after the ball goes inside.
Well, I mean, not this time, but he gets it back.
And again.
One more time and a foul first. Let's go over to Bonnie Bernstein. Bonnie?
Well, Jim, that Langdon 3 was exactly what Jim Calhoun was talking to his UConn team about in the locker room. He said his team cannot give up the 3. He wants to see them get back quicker on defense, but basically he told them to just keep on keeping on, Jim.
They allowed Duke to make 5 out of 10 threes in that first half. That's the second foul on Carrawell. Hamilton to Voskuhl, and he puts it up and in.
Good job by Hamilton to recognize that somebody was going to pick him up in the baseline. Made the easy dish.
Voskuhl's first points of the night. We have our 9th tie of the championship game. Langdon, he is so hot right now.
Again, Jim, every jumper he's made without a dribble. He's staring down the defender and then going right over the top of him.
Right over El Amin that time, and we might see more shifting over here before too long. We had the angle, Billy. You could tell the minute it left his hand, it was going in. Hamilton dancing that line. Moore will come back out with it.
Good judgment by Ricky Moore. The shot wasn't there that he wanted.
Hamilton, heavy traffic, has to go back out. Oh, he traveled. El Amin traveled.
Connecticut that time got away from their spacing that they've been so good at the first half. They had to readjust. Ricky Moore probably should have dribbled that ball back out at the top, Jim, and reset the offense.
El Amin has turned it over 4 times on the night.
It's Moore, Jim, switched over on Trajan Langdon now. They've seen enough of his outside shooting.
Brand for the easiest 2 of the night for the player of the year.
Good judgment by Voskuhl. He would have only committed a foul had he gone over and chopped down.
And Duke up 5. Into Freeman. Freeman for 2. Freeman was recruited by Duke. He was saying yesterday he would have gone there, but then he got word that they took Nate James over him instead. Freeman, who played his last year of high school ball with Tim Thomas on the Patterson Catholic in New Jersey.
There's a foul on El Amin.
And that's the 3rd one, Billy.
Jim, that was incredibly unlucky and a great smart play by Trajan Langdon. El Amin had his hand out. Trajan Langdon actually put his forehead into El Amin's hand, and that's what created the foul. An unusual foul. You're going to see something right here you don't see often. Trajan Langdon seeing the hand out in front. Now watch this. He'll put his forehead right into the hand, and that creates the foul. It wasn't the hand that went to the head. It was the head that went to the hand.
Like he was taking his temperature, and believe me, Langdon is red hot. Langdon has scored 12 of Duke's last 14.
And here's where Hamilton is so dangerous. He's got the dribble alive. Good job by Carrawell.
Stuck over to Moore. A break. He'll work on his Augusta foul here. Jumper over him. Not this time. Carrawell clears.
Boy, how often we see Carrawell and Freeman come in and slash for rebounds.
Carrawell to Battier, the assist to Chris Carrawell.
What happened right there, everybody in Connecticut's team anticipated that pass was going to go to Brand. So on the anticipation, they go for the double on Brand. Battier moves without the ball. First time I've seen any hesitancy by Connecticut so far tonight.
A dunk by Battier, a dunk by Brand, and the Duke baskets coming much easier than they did in the first half. Mooring guns it in for 2.
Yeah, one thing you can say about this bench for Connecticut, they have gotten good distribution with points by a lot of guys tonight. It's tough to go ahead and establish a pattern if you're Duke.
Carrawell jump. Tipped out into the arms of Battier, and he bangs bodies with Mooring. He'll head to the line.
Battier needed to finish that play. Mooring, a smaller player, and didn't take it hard enough to the hoop. And here we see everybody getting ready for the pass, going in one direction, on over to Brand. Battier gets it.
It's the first foul on Mooring. Battier will shoot 2.
We have a cut on Freeman. You know, this is almost always the case. You get a cut, the guy has to go over to get it fixed to come out of the ball game. I think that's the case. Here comes the trainer. That's what it is.
Oh, they'll pause the play for a moment. I mentioned a moment ago, Freeman played with Tim Thomas, who ended up playing only 1 year at Villanova. He was the player everyone in America wanted. He ends up playing on only 1 year, and look who is the guy that's really made major contributions in college basketball. Talk about how you recruit a player today. This kid's been a part of more than 80 wins at Connecticut.
And you know, probably that 1 year stay at Villanova stopped Steve Lapis from having a solid program. He's readjusted very nicely, however, since then.
You have to rethink the way you recruit.
Absolutely.
Kevin Freeman, a political science major who hopes to one day go into politics.
Now, this is interesting. Freeman had the blood on his jersey, but it's Battier is the one that's bleeding. So during this entire process, they actually were administering the wrong man. Now Battier's going to have to go down there and be administered.
Is Shane Battier so impressive when dealing with the press conferences and all that goes with it.
Jimmy worked for Morgan Stanley in New York City at Wall Street.
Before his freshman year.
And let me tell you something. If this young man didn't even play basketball, he would be heavily recruited as a student athlete. I mean, he is a very impressive young man.
He said he grew up a Michigan fan, loved the Fab Five. Battier grew up in Birmingham, Michigan, hated Duke, didn't like Grant Hill, Christian Laettner, Coach K, but when they called to recruit him, he said, I realized that's the way ball should be played. He's thrilled to be at Duke. Tuesday on JAG, a crippled aircraft carrier leaves a flight of planes with no place to land. Who is trying to take out the U.S. Navy? An explosive all-new JAG Tuesday on CBS.
And Jim, you talk about Kevin Freeman. We've seen him game in, game out throughout his career. Could you imagine he was not voted first, second, or let's try not even third team all Big East?
But he ends up winning most valuable player of the Big East tournament.
I think that probably frosted him up just a little. Wouldn't you say that?
Oh, man.
He can play on anybody's team.
And so can this guy, Maggette. We found anybody else out here bleeding?
The officials seem to be confused themselves as to who can or cannot come in now.
Jim Calhoun, I mentioned it earlier, Billy. He was hired in May of '86, which just 1 month after Coach K had made an appearance at the Final Four for the first time. And back in those days, all UConn was trying to do was stay out of the 8-9 game in the Big East tournament. Jim O'Brien, who was in this Final Four, was hired within weeks of that event also.
You know, I remember Jim made a great statement. He said, I started recruiting and I told kids, hey, guess who you can play against if you come to Connecticut. Now he says, hey, here's who you can play with. So a complete change in philosophy.
The idea, Jimmy Calhoun said, of back then of even thinking about going to the Final Four was like, okay, when's the elephant going to jump over the moon?
Absolutely. And Jim O'Brien, as you mentioned, of 5 years an assistant coach at Connecticut. And when we talked to him the other day, very honestly, he said, hey, when I was an assistant in Connecticut, you could never envision that Connecticut could be in a position they are now as a basketball team.
Terrific jobs this season by Jim O'Brien directing Ohio State here, and Tom Izzo and the Big Ten champion Michigan State Spartans. Duke leads it second half. And the semifinal games on Saturday, the lowest scoring Saturday since back in 1985.
Jim, an area that Connecticut has been very proficient is solid play off the bench with scoring. Of course, Ricky Moore with a great first half. But Connecticut against Gonzaga, 0 for 9 from 3. Against Ohio State, 1 for 6 for 3. Tonight, 1 for 4. It's tough to match a team that's a good three-point shooting team if you don't get some from out there.
Only 1 out of 4 from 3 tonight.
Now it's Maggette going up against Hamilton.
Mooring, here's a 3. Just when you call for it, Freeman battles for the rebound.
Strong for Battier. How about that? One arm with the rebound, one with a push-off.
Jim Calhoun compared him to another former Final Four player, Richard Scott of Kansas, doing more than you expect out of a 6'6 player.
It's a clear out for Maggette. Doesn't take advantage of it. He's too far away from the basket. With a little more experience, he'd know what to do there.
Avery way outside.
Push.
That's going against Duke.
He's going to call the push from across court.
To the on Maggette. Fourth offensive rebound of the night by Freeman.
How about that? He grabs it with one hand, holding him off with the other.
Return pushes is out.
This is some rebounding effort right here by Freeman.
Elton Brand on the floor. Duke by 2.
There's the flare. You can hear people hollering, watch the flare.
Brand had Hamilton for a moment, and he draws the foul. Again, Maggette, his second, and they say in the act of shooting.
What we're seeing, Jim, is some players recognizing very well who's guarding him. And I think that really is a sign of a player that's got his head into the game. Hamilton that time realizing with Maggette, a player not anywhere near as experienced defensively, and he just took him. Maggette on the other end of the floor, not recognizing the side was cleared out, should have been closer to the basket and could have taken Hamilton to the basket. The difference between a freshman and a junior.
Hamilton's first point of the second half, the first team All-America. Big East co-player of the year with Tim James of Miami, but that's 2 years he's been the player of the year in the Big East. The only other players to win it multiple years, Chris Mullin and Patrick Ewing.
How about the first year that he won it? He wasn't even preseason all-conference. Ended up being player of the year in the conference.
Ties the game at 49. Our 10th tie.
And Duke has not solved the problem as how do you get Elton Brand the ball where he can be a scoring force. Juan just pushing him out of the area he wants to score from.
Inside the Brand, and had the chippy, but was fouled. He'll shoot 2.
And you can see Connecticut saying we can use, between Saunders and Juan, we can use 10 fouls and keep Bosco fresh.
Elton Brand from Peekskill, New York, a sophomore, his sophomore year in high school at Peekskill High School, playing for the Red Devils, now playing for the Blue Devils. He won a state championship, and in the quarterfinals, his Peekskill team beat a guy we also caught up with in this tournament named Wally Zerbiak. And his mother is here, Daisy.
She was an outstanding player, athlete at North Tarrytown High School. Jim, not too far from where he lives. And you know who was the greatest coach ever at North Tarrytown High School? A guy by the name of Tony Packer, my father.
Wow.
How about that?
Later, a coach at Lehigh University. Your dad.
There's the double team on Juan. Why?
Juan,
how about that?
Delivers.
You know, that young man deserves a lot of credit. He worked so hard in practice this week, had good practices, but just didn't get anything to drop for him on Saturday. Today, he's put up 2 outstanding shots inside, and they were there.
Rebound tipped around, back out to Avery.
Wow.
Battier.
Quickly.
And Hamilton.
Nice block out by Hamilton.
And he wants to run.
And shoot.
There it is, and the lead.
Great job by Hamilton pushing the ball down the floor. Duke is really out of sync offensively half court because they have not been able to get the ball to Brand consistently.
The 7th lead change of the championship.
And Juan is pushing, he's pushing, he's pushing, and keeping Brand off the blocks down low.
Langdon drives in the time back. Trajan Langdon,
the 5th-year senior, came to Duke without a scholarship because he was a baseball pro.
The man who, along with Wojciechowski, finished his career a year ago. Coach K credits for being the bridge from back in the early 90s, and the championship teams to now, back to the elite status. And Hamilton is now back to his scoring ways. He's got 16, including 5 in the last minute.
He's sensing, Jim, that nobody out there can guard him. And that's saying something because Carrawell's a great defender.
Over the back on Juan.
But that's all right. Jim Calhoun can live with that.
Billy, you're right. You can just see Hamilton the last couple times down the floor. There's no doubt he's going to shoot it.
No, he's saying, you know, you have nobody out here that can stop me. And Juan sits down. Bosco comes back in. Bosco had committed a foul every 5 minutes of play so far in the NCAA tournament. You can see how wisely Jim Calhoun's using him tonight.
Only 1 tonight. 1 foul. Almost stolen by El-Amin. Avery left open.
Well, you don't give him that many good looks.
And the loose ball into the arms of Bosco.
And here's the numbers again. Saunders is open.
On the wing, Mooring will drive in and bangs it home, and a block on Avery. A chance for a three-point play.
Excellent push-up by Connecticut. Duke is not used to teams taking it to him on transition. And you can see Hamilton, a very good move on his part. I thought he was going to try the lob to Saunders. Instead, he decided to go over to Mooring. And, Jim, this young man is an explosive offensive player. Only that knee injury has handicapped him down the stretch in ball games.
The 6'3" sophomore from Preston, Maryland, Albert Mooring. And Calhoun told me he considers him the best shooter on the team. And when you got the likes of Amin and Hamilton, that's saying a lot. Unable to finish the three-point chance. But UConn leads by 4, eyeing its largest lead of the night.
Now it's Bosco trying to push Brand off the blocks and get him a step or two away from where he'd like to be.
Langdon, what a pass. Brand unable to slam it home, but he'll go back to the line.
They're just not giving him any opportunity to get an easy basket. Now what Trajan Langdon, and give him a lot of credit here. He realizes how Brand's being defended. So now he's going to penetrate and try to get the ball inside after some switches come over there. And there is the cheap foul, but it prevents Brand from getting the easy put down, puts him on the line where he's nowhere near as proficient.
Look at the eyes of Langdon. Coach K said this week, the best way, and this is his 8th Final Four as a coach, Mike said the best way to see this Final Four festival is through the eyes of a player. Better perspective, more exciting when you look at it this way. And he said in St. Pete, I'm going to look at this Final Four through the eyes of Trajan Langdon.
You know, it's interesting. Mike Krzyzewski struggled at Duke University. He was hired the same year Jimmy Valvano was. By the time '83 rolled along and Valvano had won a national championship, Krzyzewski's coming off 2 losing seasons. People are saying, why in the world did they hire this guy? But you know the man, Tom Butters, had the guts to hire him and stay with him. And now he's got the guy that everybody would love to have as coach.
One of the classiest administrators you'll ever want to know. Or gentlemen for that point.
Connecticut again taking the ball right at Duke. Duke showing some signs of frustration.
Amin quickly drawing that foul at the other end.
And kind of a gutsy move for Amin to go inside there with 3 fouls.
It was Khalid who early in the year was trying to describe his team. He'll shoot 2 fouls here. Only 4 points thus far tonight, but that can change in a hurry. Because he was trying to say that his Huskies have tremendous spurt ability. And that left Coach Calhoun kind of confused.
He thought I was talking to Clark Kellogg.
And Khalid said, I got that from Mr. Kellogg.
And there we have Connecticut now 4 of 9 from the line. Remember the great NCAA tournament he had last year. He had 93 points in 4 games.
Isn't able to hit either free throw, so it's still a 2-point game.
And as Duke had problems from the line against Michigan State, now it's Connecticut having trouble there.
Langdon got it back though, and a reach-in tie-up situation. It's Duke ball.
Trajan Langdon doing a very wise thing here, recognizing what's going on. Hey, they change it around. One referee overruled it, said Langdon had possession and was tied up.
That's what they said. It was the defensive play who forced it. That's a rule change this year. It'll be UConn's ball when we come back.
Nike, Conseco, and by new Pepsi One.
Back in the Tampa Bay area, St. Petersburg, and the aerial shots being provided by Goodyear. Are we in store for a shocker tonight? That was the talk all week, that Duke was just, again, a foregone conclusion. Coronation coming tonight for the Devils, but UConn and the people who followed UConn all season long knew otherwise. It was a team that lost only twice, once to Syracuse when Hamilton was out with an injury, and once to Miami. 33-2. Best record in school history. The Devils 37-1. If they could muster a win here tonight in the championship, it'd be the most wins ever in a season by any college basketball team.
It's something when you don't have your own school record, for the reason that they hold the national record, huh?
There's some. Bosco Got it back. And there is Khalid El-Amin. And meanwhile, in stores, talking about in store for a shocker. Look at the celebration back on campus in Stores, Connecticut.
No double team this time.
Brandon. Brand in and back to the line for one more.
Jim, that was the first time tonight, to my memory, that the ball went inside to Brand, and Connecticut did not double from any area. When they did this isolated Brand on Bosco, and look at what happens. So Jim Calhoun changing up his defensive strategy. It doesn't work. Duke does a good job recognizing, and notice, first time that Brand has turned to the basket and didn't have a Connecticut man standing right there waiting for him.
The second on Bosco, just his second, with 11 minutes, 12 seconds remaining. Elton Brand from the hometown of New York Governor Pataki. Peak skill. And long rebound out to Hamilton.
Gets ahead, and here comes Freeman.
Stuck underneath, pushed out, though, they say, by Elton Brand.
Again, Connecticut just pushing the ball up the floor, not giving Duke any time whatsoever to rest.
El-Amin out with the 3 fouls. How about the play of Hamilton tonight, Billy?
He's been outstanding on both ends of the floor and really good with his judgments as to what to do with the ball, both taking the shots, there's that little floater of his, but also passing the ball extremely well tonight. Pushes off, really has a silky smooth jump shot.
That was the 6th team foul. The next one will be a 1-on-1 on both sides. In fact, Freeman and rebound Battier. Duke can tie it with a 2.
Notice Moore has been the guy who's been switched on over. That's long.
And Bosco clears.
Surprised Avery didn't take that more to the basket.
Mooring looking for an angle. Gets caught, and it's stolen away by Langdon. Fifth-year senior having some night. Three-pointer. Not this time. Rebound out to Moore.
Misjudged by Carrawell. And here comes a fresher Connecticut, Jim.
And look at Hamilton. Couldn't be set up any better.
Jim, Mike Krzyzewski needs a timeout here. His team has hit the wall in terms of stamina. His team is very tired right now. 10-minute mark. Connecticut has used a deeper bench.
And it's going the other way. It's on Carrawell. Hamilton stood his ground. And Duke faces its largest deficit of the tournament.
When you get tired, you start doing some things your body won't let you do. And Duke is in that position right now. They need a break.
Can you imagine that scene if the Huskies can pull it off? They've got 10 minutes and change remaining.
Well, I hope it's not the scene like they had at East Lansing, where those students certainly got out of control.
El-Amin back in with 3 fouls. And he lost control of it. Now they say last touch Elton Brand.
Every call going in the direction, every bounce going in the direction of Connecticut right now. It'll be interesting to see this great Duke team, whether they can call on all efforts, mentally and physically, to sustain themselves.
McGetty back for the Devils. Hamilton inside to Saunders. Soft hook, tipped up by Bosco, and Duke's underneath. Brand's 11th rebound.
Ooh, Avery was thinking about putting up the 3.
Look at Langdon.
There's the push.
And it's going to be on Battier. It'll be a 1-on-1 at the other end. 3 on Battier. 3 on Avery. 3 on Carrawell. Duke in territory it is totally unfamiliar with.
Absolutely, Jim. And as I said again, I think that what we have here is Coach K looking for a TV timeout to save him so he can have him down the end, but his club is tired right now. You know, basically Connecticut has gone much deeper with the number of people. Duke has an outstanding bench in terms of the quality, but not the depth and not the production that Jim Calhoun has used this evening with Connecticut. Now Bosco sits again.
And Antrick Claber, who has not played that much in his career, scored only 15 points. And this is his senior season, but he's going to get a few minutes. A 1-on-1 at the line for Edmund Saunders.
Is this the 11th man that Connecticut has put in the game?
It is indeed. There's Andrew Klaber. Saunders at the line wearing number 51. He lost his father 3 years ago during his junior year in high school, highly recruited. His father, Robert, was 51 years old. He says he'll wear that number to commemorate his father's courage the rest of his career. Can't get the second one.
Jim, you know what Jim Calhoun has on that bench? He has Freeman getting rested. He has Bosco getting rested. And it's going to be Saunders on Brand. Duke should go to Brand now.
McGetty hammered. Will it be El Amin or Saunders? This is a big call here.
I think it's going to be Saunders.
It is Saunders.
Saunders picks up his second personal foul. That is the 7th team foul.
That'll send McGetty to the line. 4-on-1 for Connecticut. And El Amin with 3. Saddled most of this night by the foul trouble. And here for Coach K, one of only a handful of freshmen to ever average double figures in their, again, first year. Johnny Dawkins, Mark Allery, who's here tonight. Dawkins on the bench as an assistant. Grant Hill, who's here. Trajan Langdon and Elton Brand, they're all here.
A little nervous apprehension on that Duke bench right now. As you said, Jim, they have not been in these waters before. Not this season.
And now the only member of Coach K's 98 recruiting class will shoot one more. First bench points of the second half for Duke. And now they're down 4.
Michigan State had a big advantage the second half with bench points against Duke as well.
Connecticut's bench doubling up the number on Duke for the night. 9 minutes remaining. Open as Hamilton. You can't do that.
Jim, great screening inside. Moore set the screen. Then Hamilton picked up the second screen. There was no way to fight through. Excellent set play.
McGetty. El Amin reached in, almost made the theft, and now he has it. Wisely pulls back.
Very good judgment.
Hamilton wants to come in, but it's rejected. They throw it out of there. Brand rejects it. Avery to Brand. Boy, is he running.
Holy mackerel. You talk about a big guy being in shape there. Elton Brand was put on the bench for 2 games for being out of shape at Duke, but I'll tell you, he showed me something there.
And he sprinted back to the other end, too.
Great, great play by the player of the year in the country.
65-61 Connecticut.
Look at him now. Aggressively.
And he steals it again. Got a man ahead, Avery. Saunders reaches in. It'll send Brand to the line for 1-1.
Oh, Brand is stepping up now like a heavyweight champion. Boy, you talk about a guy that just got all of a sudden re-energized. Look at him take off down the basketball court. He makes a tough catch on the run and finishes. And as you pointed out, Jim, before we knew it, he was already back down on the other end of the floor defensively.
Saunders will come out with his third. Bosco in the game. Brand will shoot a 1-on-1. He has 15 points on the night. The college player of the year. 10 of them coming in this half. Already with a double-double. Won't get a second try. 8 minutes remaining. The game we long for all season in college basketball. And 8 minutes left to determine the national champion.
Now look for the screens again for Hamilton. They're setting a lot of great curl moves for him. He gets a bigger man. Does he drive to the basket? There he goes.
Rejected by Carrawell. Out to Freeman. Left hand off the glass, too strong. And Brand again has it.
But Duke can't get down the court quick enough to get off their 3.
Carrawell quickly with a 2.
Well, you got to love him. I'm really shocked that Mike Krzyzewski's not calling a timeout to give his guys a rest.
The next whistle, though, will be the official timeout.
They are really expending a lot of energy the last couple of minutes.
El Amin blocked by Brand. Back into the arms of El Amin, and he's out of bounds. Not a timeout in time. He tried to call it.
Almost like a play he made in the first half where he dove and kept the ball alive.
And there's the whistle, Billy.
Now Duke gets some bounces that they've needed all game.
Do they know something that no one else does? Hamilton leads all scorers with 22 points. A UConn lead of 2 with under 7 minutes remaining.
There's Freeman rested out on the floor. I think that was a timeout that Duke really needed and should be able to take advantage to get that little blow. Back out there with their starting lineup. They've played a lot more minutes than the starting lineup for Connecticut has.
It's been a tournament that's had a paucity of buzzer beaters, unlike tournaments past. Maybe there's one save for tonight. What's this call?
That's Moore trying to fight through the screens. Yep. Gets called for holding Trajan Langdon.
That's the third on Ricky Moore, who had 13 points in the first half, but has not scored in the second half.
But those 13 points, Jim, were so valuable because Connecticut was looking for somebody to get on the board, and he really took over offensively.
Langdon at the line, 1-1. Think of his career. Comes to Duke just months after the Grant Hill senior team lost in the finals. He said, I came to Duke thinking I'd go to 4 Final Fours. His first year is the year that Coach K has to sit out. They're 13 and 18. Then he has to sit out a year because of a knee injury. And now in his last season, he gets to play for that championship tonight.
This is one of his patented free throws. However, he could have tied the score up. High school teammates going head-to-head in that matchup.
Hamilton partially blocked. Bosco fights for it, and it's Duke ball. Devils have a chance to take the lead.
That was great defensive help by Elton Brand because they had the double outside, and Elton stayed right with Richard Hamilton.
Langdon.
He got a piece of it.
How about Mooring with the rebound? He's done that a couple of times already.
Moore got a piece of that ball.
Ricky Moore challenges Avery.
Bad shot. But you notice how Duke has not been able to force tempo. Connecticut doing a good job getting back down. And that's what Duke has been so great this year. In transition, getting the three-point shots off.
Avery over the top to Brand. Bosco, clean block, they say.
Oh, my goodness. How about the foul after the shot? No call. Mike Krzyzewski's got to be going crazy here. And you can't blame him. How is this not a foul? Ball inside. On the ball, but watch what happens afterwards. He takes Brand to the floor.
Duke inbounds underneath. A basket for the lead. Battier eyeing it. Good over the back on Elton Brand.
Great job by Sanders.
Third on Elton.
Battier had the wide open look.
Jim Calhoun said when we came here this week, we came here not just for this team, but for all the players who led this program here. Players like Lyman DePriest and Chris Smith. Now, they had chances to get there. Didn't quite ever finish it in those regional finals. Hennefeld, Danielle Marshall, Travis Knight, just some of the names. Shepard, the lineage of UConn basketball, and certainly Ray Allen, who's here tonight.
Jim, that 94 team, 29-5. Jim calls that the most talented team he ever had. Danielle and Donnie Marshall, Kevin Ollie, Travis Knight, Ray Allen got beat in overtime by Florida. You remember that one?
Pretty touching, though, to hear Calhoun talk about how they're all here tonight. They all got us here.
Well, he considered Chris Smith the most important recruit he ever got because that was the first one he beat head-to-head against a top Big East school.
Avery partially blocked. Saunders got a piece up. Avery can't quite crawl the rim. And UConn clears as Rushmel Jones underneath, who rebounded.
Steps. Mooring had the right idea. Pretty good defense by Duke.
Connecticut is in a stretch at this end of the floor offensively where things aren't going right. They've missed their last 6 shots. Here they turn it over.
But Duke has not been able to convert on the other end as well, Jim.
5 minutes remaining.
Boy, Ricky Moore is just chasing Trajan Langdon everywhere. He can't fight through any screen.
Carrawell wants it. Carrawell ties it.
Came up so big offensively in the second half against Michigan State.
The 13th tie and a timeout. Chris Carrawell has tied it. He said yesterday, when I think of playing for the national championship, I think of one thing, one shining moment. And that was one right there. Game deadlocked at 66. Tuesday on CBS, the network premiere of Species. Imagine meeting the most beautiful woman you've ever seen, only to discover she's not of this earth. That's Species, Tuesday on CBS. Talked about that period for Trajan Langdon when he first came to Duke. And for Mike Krzyzewski, it was such a crossroads in his career. So focused was Mike, so driven. His life, he admits, was a runaway train. He had to sit out his last 19 games and then come back to restructure his life and rebuild his program. And Langdon's been there for all of it.
Yeah, that particular year had to sit down as of January the 5th. Stay completely away from that basketball team that was 9-3 at the time.
Finished 13-18.
Five seconds. Elamine recognizes what the official's doing, so he backs it up a little bit. He was close to a 5-second call. Good job by Elamine to break it.
Gone 4.5 without a field goal. And that's last touch by Avery. But 8 seconds is all we have on the shot clock.
You know what that means, Jim? Richard Hamilton. If you're Duke, you better keep an eye on him here. Here is where he's so dangerous.
Bosco back for Saunders.
And Carrawell, who studied films to get ready to handle Steve Francis and did a fine job against him defensively, has to be aware of where Hamilton is right now.
Aware here, too. 5 on the shot clock. Elamine gets him the lean back.
He loves the leaner. They really do have two guys that don't mind taking that big shot. Unusual for teams to have that. Trajan Langdon has the curl that time.
Speaking of wanting the shot, Langdon will go back to the line. Double bonus the rest of the way. He'll shoot 2.
I'm sure the Duke players were aware of Hamilton just as I was. Elamine freezes Avery and then gets that little floater that he loves so well. Just as Brand was an outstanding player on that Goodwill gold medal team, so was Elamine.
Jim Calhoun says the bravest soldier of them all. Elamine is a brave one also. 2 shots, Langdon. Three-time first team All ACC and the regional MVP of the Meadowlands. Gets them both. 22 for Langdon.
In the Meadowlands, Jimmy was 15 for 21 from the floor. That'll get you an MVP award.
And I had talked to him about his trouble in shooting here in 3 games. Said, I think I shot pretty well last year against Kentucky. They made 3 out of 7. He said, I'm not worried about it. And he's not playing with any worries at all.
There was Hamilton just running all over, trying to rub Carrawell off the screens. He got hit right in the lower gut there and goes down.
And again, a double bonus at this end. That's the 4th on Carrawell, Billy.
Now, you would think McGetty would be coming in, or James coming in for Carrawell, because there's still plenty of time here at 3:50. I think Duke wants Carrawell to be in this ball game at the end. You would expect to see a substitution here.
So 4 for Carrawell. UConn for the game, only 6 out of 14 from the free throw line. This position, the 3-man, always so successful in the Jim Calhoun system, whether it was back at his days at Northeastern with Reggie Lewis, and there have been others, Daniel Marshall, Ray Allen, and this man, Rip Hamilton. The next great one, Billy, is on the bench in street clothes, and his name, folks, Aju Ding. And he will, Billy, based on what you've seen, you said he'll be a star.
He really looks like an outstanding prospect to me.
He'll be eligible next year. Hamilton's free throws has given Connecticut the lead by 2. 24 for Hamilton. 3:50 remaining. It's been a beautiful game to watch. Billy, you thought Saturday was ugly, and this one's just the opposite.
It really is, Jim, and everything that you would expect. 2 number 1s play against each other. ACC against Big East. Connecticut knew that they belonged on this floor with Duke University, unlike those that said it was just a walkthrough for Duke. Connecticut, Jim Calhoun knew it wasn't. Mike Krzyzewski knew that it wasn't. We're going to see right now two outstanding teams, great programs, kids with a lot of moxie. Which ones can bring it home?
Full court pressure over the top to beat the press to Avery. In the corner, they forced the turnover.
That was Moore from behind. William Avery, once he crossed half court, had to cut to the middle to get away from that trap. Didn't do it.
Every possession so critical. 3.5 remaining. Hamilton left open after Brand went for the steal, and a three gives him the 5-point lead. He rips the long one.
Scotty Thurman, Antonio Lang over the top, Charlotte, North Carolina. A huge three there, and that was as well.
And that was also against Duke. Carrawell comes into the traffic, then get Bosco for that one. Let's check the CBS Sportsline stat of the game. Field goal percentage. And Connecticut over 50%. Holding Duke down to 42%.
And Jim, as you pointed out at the top of the show, Duke has held teams to 36%, the lowest since 1960. But Connecticut doing a fine job offensively.
For complete wrap-up of the tournament, go to cbs.sportsline.com. Carrawell to shoot two.
Good arch on the ball there by Carrawell.
His first Final Four memory, Duke Louisville final back in 1986. Coach K's first final, Louisville won. Freshman Purvis Ellison, the MVP, or MOP, if you will. 1 of 2.
Nobody stepped in for Duke for that long rebound. And this senior leader right here seems to be all over the floor. Again, Hamilton running around the screens.
He wants it, not this time. Carrawell pulls it away, waits for his teammates to catch up.
And then takes it too far. Just
hold on, big call. It's going to the Devils.
Same thing that William Avery did. Took the ball down in the corner when he didn't have the numbers. Big break for Duke here. Ripped on out of there.
Langdon, spin move, too strong, and Ricky Moore rebounds.
And who was the man guarding Trajan Langdon on that play? Ricky Moore, and still there in position to grab a rebound.
8 rebounds for Ricky Moore.
Matched his total against Ohio State, where he led the club.
6'2" guard.
16 rebounds in 2 games, and you're asked to be the defensive guard. That's a walk.
El Amin, and hold on, they got it. They got it.
It has to be a walk, kind of a delayed call there.
2:15 remaining.
And Jim Calhoun looks at El Amin and says, hey, keep the ball out up high. Let Richard Hamilton run around those solid screens.
Devils have made only 1 of their last 7 attempts.
Bosco pushing down in there on Elton Brand. They can't get the ball down in the low post.
There you go. Timeout call. Timeout call.
Mike Krzyzewski only wants a 20. He's got to get the ball down in low to Brand. That's been the key to the game defensively, I think, Jim, is the fact that Connecticut's strategy in the low post has prevented Elton Brand, the National Player of the Year, from having the huge game.
Talking to Mike practice the other day, did you ever have doubts that you would get back to this stage? And he said, oh yeah, oh yeah. Back in that crossroads period of his life. But he says, I love coaching more now than I ever did before. That year, he set out, it was just too hard to watch the games. When he didn't finish the last 19 games of the season, he would just listen to him on the radio.
Well, now there you see the company that Mike Krzyzewski is moving into, and he is now second all-time in NCAA tournament wins past the great John Wooden. And you can be sure that Connecticut's going to play out to stop any three-point opportunities. So the key is get the ball down to Elton Brand, and he's being pushed, held, grabbed, everything they can do to him.
Carrawell, three-pointer.
Block out by Freeman.
And
great rebound.
Battier gets it out. Langdon three. The senior delivers.
Sensational play by Battier. What a rebound.
A one-point game with
for the first
remaining.
Jim, Duke slaps the floor. Remember those days by Buddy Hurley slapping the floor and saying we've got something left.
20-second timeout. Calhoun and Connecticut. Battier able to get the rebound and kick it back out to the Alaskan assassin.
Well, people said that he did not play well down the stretch in previous years, but that young man's doing it tonight.
There's a full timeout on the floor now. We'll be back to St. Pete. What a night. Timeouts, but for UConn, 1-20, one a full. Trajan Langdon is Coach K says the best shooter I've ever had. And did he hit one of the biggest shots of his splendid career just a moment ago? Here it is.
The all-time career three-point shooter at Duke. Young man was injured, in the Virginia game in the ACC tournament. The foot problem, missed the number of games, missed the remaining 2 games in the ACC tournament, and then the opening game in the NCAA tournament. So it's great to see him back. Senior on senior right here. Moore and Langdon. We're waiting for Hamilton to go off the screen. And here he comes. Farrell beats it.
These are the possessions you play back in your mind and back on tape the rest of your life. 1:10 to go. 8 on the shot clock. El Amin with Brand defending. Splits the defender. And it's to the three-point game.
How much guts is that to take the ball against Brand inside?
With just 4 seconds on the shot clock. And El Amin, or was it called on Moore? Called on Moore. It'll be, again, 2-shot situation the rest of the way.
And if you're Jim Calhoun, again, you don't want foul here. Stops the clock. Another floater on the inside. He just has so much confidence, Jim. And just think, 2 games ago, he goes 0 for 12 against Gonzaga. Here he comes tonight, forgets all about it, and comes up big.
2 shots for Avery, sophomore. Delivers the first. What a combo he's been with Elton Brand. They made recruiting trips together to Virginia and Kentucky. They decided on those trips they were going to go to the same school, and they chose Duke. And now they're down 1 with 54 seconds to go.
In any case, Duke will get another possession. At least 1. Jim Calhoun says, I want it back out here, and he wants a timeout now.
With 34 seconds remaining, they'll operate with 16 seconds on the shot clock when they take the floor again.
Well, Jim, here is why it's so important to have more than one option. If you just have a Hamilton as a scorer, that's easier to defend. But El Amin has shown that he can strike as well. So they have 2 options to go to as primary options. And I think we'll see one of those 2 deliver this shot or a pass inside if Duke tries to double team on the drive-in.
Can UConn finish it? Again, all week long, all tournament long. Everyone believed it was Duke and only Duke. But these kids always believed. Trajan Langdon in the final seconds of his career. The bridge.
And Duke has stood in his way every time he has tried to advance.
The bridge, as Coach K called him. 12 on the shot clock. El Amin again, spinning, firing short. Carrawell has it. Duke with a basket can take the lead and win the game.
They don't have to take a shot. Will Mike Krzyzewski go for a 22nd, or is he just going to play?
We're running this one down.
Wow, Trajan Langdon with the ball, and he's going up against a great defender. What's he doing here?
9 seconds to go. The whole season on the line, and Langdon. Traveling on Langdon with 5 seconds remaining.
The foot movement of Ricky Moore. I'm really surprised that they tried to challenge the #1 defender in the NCAA tournament so far. It was the footwork of Ricky Moore who stayed right in front of Trajan Langdon.
A timeout, Duke. 75-74, UConn. Trick all night long here at Tropicana Field. 5.4 seconds to go, and the Krzyzewski family trembles. Nikki and daughter Debbie. But it's not over here. UConn ball with 5 seconds to go.
Strategy here is if you're Duke University, you've got to foul. We look on the floor right now. You've got Ricky Moore, an 82% shooter. You've got Hamilton, an 83% shooter. Collette is a 78% shooter.
Inbound to El Amin, and Avery will send him to the line. It only lost 0.2 of a second.
And El Amin goes to the line, a 79% free throw shooter. He's come up big in this game.
But he's
0 for 2 tonight.
Missed 2 tonight.
There is the defensive intensity of Ricky Moore. I really thought that Duke would have been better off not trying to go against the strength of Connecticut's defense and put the ball in the hands of Avery since Moore was on Trajan Langdon. But that's old news now.
Again, you watch the tournament through the eyes of the players, through the eyes of the kids. And Khalid Al-Amin, who had just an atrocious game against Gonzaga in the regional final as they tried to clear that hurdle, still stepped to the line, though, late in that game and hit the key free throws. 2 shots coming for Al-Amin.
Jim, if he makes this shot, do you foul if you're Connecticut and not let Duke try one of those patented threes to tie this thing?
You'll need a 3 to tie.
Trajan Langdon's going to take it the length of the floor and try to get it off. He doesn't have a lot of time here.
Pressure from Jones. Langdon trips, and UConn has done it. El-Amin comes over and says, "We shocked the world." Folks, you got to believe, because just when people say you can't, you can. And UConn has won the national championship in its first attempt in a final. Jim Calhoun has completed the unthinkable for many, the improbable. His friends will tell you that no one ever gave Jim Calhoun anything. His father passed away at the age of 15. His high school coach, Fred Herget, was the most profound influence in his life outside his family, his high school coach. And he said he wanted to be like him one day, wanted to make a difference like he did to me. And he toiled through the high school ranks at first, from Old Lyme High School to Westport High School up in Massachusetts, to Dedham High School, on to Northeastern, to Connecticut in 1986. Nothing was ever given to him. He started with nothing, and he had to grind every step of the way. And his Huskies embodied his spirit tonight, and they have won the 1999 National Championship.
Here in St. Petersburg tonight, UConn 77, Duke 74. Let's return you down on the floor and rejoin Jim Nance and Billy Packer. Jim.
Hey, what's the headline say here, guys? What's it say there, Ricky?
UConn #1. UConn is #1, no doubt about it.
Hey, let me
we
see
done came out and proved ourselves.
Let me see those magic feet, man. This guy can guard somebody.
Hey, Jim, everybody said coming here this was going to be Duke's tournament. Everybody said you can't, but you did. How did you do it?
With these guys, and with guys like the country right here, baby. And without question, with the guys who come before them, because Ray Allen, Daniel Marshall, Chris Smith, Sky Burrell, they set this up. And then these guys pulled it straight tonight and pulled it across the finish line.
It's unbelievable to see a guy like Ray Allen. You talked about the lineage of having all the players through the years. They all were a part of this, you said, to get you here tonight.
Every one of our kids who played for us, from Cliff Robinson on down to Scotty to Ray to every kid, they have an awful lot to do with this. And then these guys pulled that slate across that finish line. It was very special tonight.
Hey, Ricky, the road for you began back on Hazel Street in Augusta, Georgia. And what does this one mean to you tonight in your last game at Connecticut? Connecticut.
It means a lot. You know, we really worked hard as a team, and I came out to prove myself tonight. I was playing against one of my former teammates, and I just wanted to show everybody I got an offensive game as well as a defensive game. And one thing, I knew Ray Allen must have been in the building. It was like my freshman year in the Big East tournament when I shocked the world, and I shocked it again.
Hey, Jim, I want to ask you, I want to give a lot of credit to you and your staff as well. That defensive plan you had for Elton Brand was magnificent.
Yeah, we really tried to do big-to-big doubles, but we made a little different kind of rotation than Michigan State had, and we always doubled with the same person. So when you try to double with different people, you fall out of rotation. But our kids knew almost like a zone principle once we doubled down where we're going to be.
Took you 20 times to get to a Final Four, and then you went all the way. Nice going.
Thanks,
well, Coach, when you won the NIT back in 1988, they didn't say congratulations back in Connecticut. They said thank you. What do you think they're going to be saying when you go home this time?
Well, we're going to say to them, thank you for being the best fans in America. You know, we're bringing us back to Connecticut with a great group of kids, and we couldn't be happier.
It's a shining moment unlike any other. And what a march to remember for the man who became a grandfather back on March the 5th for the first time. Jim Calhoun and the Connecticut Huskies are the national champions, and let's go back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. You know, it's one of those things. You think back to the pregame show. Bonnie Bernstein talked to Coach Calhoun and to Khalid El-Amin. The last thing Khalid El-Amin said, we're going to go out there tonight and shock the world. They have done just that. A short while ago, Armin Katayan had a chance to catch up with Duke Blue Devils head coach Mike Krzyzewski.
Coach, certainly not the effort, or certainly not the outcome here, but as disappointment. The effort was great in a game for the ages.
Yeah, it was a great game, and I thought we really picked it up in the second half and had some opportunities. They make big shots. Their perimeter is terrific. Hamilton and El-Amin and Moore are just an amazing perimeter, and they kept pressure on us all game, and it was tough to defend them. And then we got some looks, and we put ourselves in a position where we had a chance to win, and they made the play, and we didn't make the play in the last minute. And that's what great games usually end up with, is, you know, who made that one play.
You've told us time and time again how much you love this team. What, in a moment, you'll be in the locker room with them. What do you say to them?
Well, I'll find out when I do things by feel, not by program. So when I see them, I'll, you know, like, I love my team. I mean, they gave me an unbelievable year, and we lost to a great basketball team. I think a team that played outstanding basketball. So I thought we were beaten tonight. We didn't lose, and my hat's off to Jim and his team. They're really a tough basketball team. They're a very difficult team to defend.
Thanks, Coach. A sensational season, a little short. Thank you very much.
Mike Krzyzewski as classy in defeat as he is in victory. Our Chevrolet players of the game: Trajan Langdon of Duke, a team-high 25 points. Richard Hamilton of Connecticut, 27 points, 16 of them coming in the second half. He also grabbed 7 rebounds. We'll take a timeout here, and when we come back to St. Petersburg, a happy UConn Husky bunch will take possession of the championship trophy. We'll also have one shining moment coming your way right after this. Late March, courtesy of Goodyear. Coming up next here on CBS, for most of you, it's your late local news, followed by Late Show with David Letterman. Dave's guests tonight are Marv Albert, Diane Lane, and musical guest Blur. Right now, the moment Connecticut's been waiting for since day one of practice in the fall, the presentation of the NCAA championship trophy. Here is public address announcer Jackie Bowe.
Your attention, please. To present the championship awards tonight, here is the chairman of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee, Mr. C.M. Newton.
Again, on behalf of the Division I Men's Basketball Committee, I want to congratulate both of these outstanding teams for a tremendous championship game and a tremendous run throughout the tournament. And now it's my privilege to present the NCAA championship trophy to Coach Jim Calhoun and the University of Connecticut Huskies. Congratulations, Coach. Jim, we'd like a few words from you, please.
I just want to thank the best fans in America. From, although you may disagree, CM, from the best state basketball in America to the best basketball team I've ever coached, who brought this trophy home. I also want to congratulate a great Duke basketball team that we beat here today. They're a tremendous basketball team.
Congratulations, Jim. You're great champions.
Congratulations in order. You bet they are. The Huskies of UConn are national champions. We'll come back to St. Petersburg with more right after this.
From the University of Connecticut.
Trajan Langdon's going to take it to length of the floor and try to get it off. He doesn't have a lot of time here. Pressure from Jones. Langdon trips, and UConn has done it.
Final moments of a terrific ball game. UConn wins it by 3, 77-74. You said before the game the Huskies had to put the pedal to the metal, and for the most part they did that tonight.
They really did. They did an outstanding job. As I look at this game, their bench was a little better, 17-8 scoring from UConn's bench, and then they were able to better do their key, which was contain Brand, than Duke was able to do their key, which was to contain Richard Hamilton.
And Coach, I thought that UConn got more dangerous the more they realized that they could play with Duke out here tonight.
No question about it, but I'd like to just take this opportunity to commend everyone in the game for a high level of play, excellence and effort. It was just fantastic to watch. It was a pleasure to watch it as a coach and as a fan.
Duke comes down to the championship game and then registers its lowest field goal percentage of the season at 41.1%. They come a 3 point shy in the championship game. A timeout here. We're back with one shining moment right after this. Coming up next, it's your late local news, followed by The Late Show with David Letterman. Dave's guest tonight, Marv Albert, Diane Lane, and musical guest Blur. Our final score, the UConn Huskies, champions, 77-74 over the Blue Devils of Duke. Now, Saturday at 1 Eastern Time, CBS Sports brings you live flag-to-flag coverage of the Nashville 320 presented by Outback Steakhouse. Then at 4 Eastern, CBS Sports Spectacular brings you the U.S. Snowboarding Grand Prix and the Snapple Superstars. Then in 2 weeks, it's golf's most prestigious event, the Masters. Our CBS Sports coverage begins Thursday and Friday, April 8th and 9th, with late-night highlights at 11:35 Eastern Time, followed by live third-round coverage Saturday at 3:30 Eastern. Then on Sunday, final round coverage gets underway at 4 Eastern. The Masters on CBS, a tradition unlike any other. And so tonight, after years of sustained excellence, Connecticut coach Jim Calhoun and his spirited Huskies finally got the shot they deserved, and they made the most of it. Our congratulations also to Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski and his Blue Devils, who throughout the season represented the gold standard in college basketball. With 2 national titles and 5 trips to the Final Four, Duke can still lay claim to the title as the team of the 90s. This mad march of 64 teams and 63 games has again given us one wondrous story after another, punctuated with names like Arsenault, Zerbiak, and Krzyzewski. For Jim Nance, Billy Packer, Clark Kellogg, Coach Rick Majerus, and for all of us here at CBS Sports, I'm Greg Gumbel. Thank you for being with us. As we leave you now from St. Petersburg, Florida, here's one last tribute to the 1999 tournament and its many shining moments.
is tipped, there you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star. All those years, no one knows just how hard you work. But now it shows that one shining moment you reached deep inside. In one shining moment you knew you were alive. Feel the beat of your heart, feel the wind in your face. It's more than a contest, it's more than a race. When it's done, win or lose, you always did your best, 'cause inside you knew that one shining moment you reached for the sky. One shining moment you knew. One shining moment you willing to try. One shining moment you knew. Shining moment.
Tonight, the Late Show